Hi everyone, welcome back to Workspace Wednesday. Today we are going to be building an extremely simple task and note management system inside of Notion. So last week I came across this article, and it's an article by Andrew Connor. It's on his website and I will link it in the description below. But in this article, he describes a system of that he would have developed over years to manage both personal and work projects. Right? He has named it the append list system, and overall, it involves adding tasks as well as notes to a document that you create every month, and you essentially add your tasks and your notes to the end of that document, and you work through your workflow or process to complete these tasks. In this article, he describes his system, a daily process, as well as a weekly and a monthly process for going through tasks and just basically making sure that you stay on top of these projects. And I found that it was extremely useful, very helpful, and most importantly, simple. So if you are now starting out with Notion, or maybe if you're just now starting out with something like bullet journaling or task management, just to stay on top of your projects, I would recommend this system. And I thought it would be a good idea or a fun idea to go ahead and build it out inside of Notion. As I said, it's not really a build out, it's extremely simple. So simple that we'll actually be building it as well inside of Notion together. So let's go ahead and have a look at an overview of the entire system, right? So as you can see here, we are looking at a database view. This is a gallery view. We also have a list view, and we can see it's just a list of all of the months for the year, right? If I have a look, I have another view, which is an overview. We can see all the different properties for this database. And really and truly, it's just these four properties right here, and they are all text properties. And I included this so that you have a space to do a weekly review if you want to do that. Right? I find that weekly reviews are really helpful, especially as you're going through the months and then the quarters, so that you stay on top of the things that you initially said that you were going to do at the start of the month or at the start of the quarter. Let's have a look inside of one of the pages. So as I said, this database just contains all of these pages, which are the months of the year. And let's go into February. Right. So as you can see, we have the four properties up here. If you do your weekly review, they will all be stored here, and it would be very nice to just come and have a look back and see what you accomplished, what you didn't accomplish, what went well. So I thought that this was a nice place to put the weekly review. In the body of this page, in this system, we have the main three components here. So we have the day or the date, and this is going to change inside of the template, but you have the dates up here. Then you have the main components. We have a deep work, which really, if you've read Deep Work by Cal Newport, your deep work tasks are things that you really need to focus completely on. So these are the tasks that you protect time in your calendar to focus on. And in the article, Andrew Connor would have described that similar sort of setup for your deep work tasks. I have fleeting tasks here, and fleeting tasks, this is a name that I kind of just came up with because I wanted something to describe quick tasks that you don't necessarily need to block off time in your calendar to do, but they are things that take time. And in the article, Andrew describes it as process, but I found that I wasn't really, that didn't just sound right for me. So I named it fleeting task. You can name it whatever you want. It's like, well, the opposite of deep work is shallow work, but I didn't like shallow work either. So I'm calling it fleeting tasks, and you can name it whatever you want, quick tasks or just tasks alone. But these include things like laundry, if you have to cook lunch, if you have to go to the grocery. I have here updating my finances. So things that are going to take some time, but you don't necessarily have to focus intensely on them, or you don't necessarily need to apply that amount of focus. And lastly, we have a notes section for anything that you come across during the day, whether it's a link, this is a link to the same article, or anything that you want to just remember from the day that you may have come across. And that is essentially it. How this system works, as I said, so append, meaning that you add these days to, or this template is added every day, and the document will just go on in this order. So everything at the bottom of the document is essentially what you're currently working on for that day. I've added a template button here, and this template button is what's going to add these sections to the day. So if I look at the template configuration, you will see it just has these blocks. It has the day, and the date is the date when duplicated. So if you click on that template button today, it's going to populate today's date. If you click on it tomorrow, it's going to populate tomorrow's date. And of course, you can add all of your days for the month in advance, but I find that this takes some of the intention. You want to develop a routine. You want this to be not necessarily sacred, but you want to be intentional about it. And I find that if you pre-populate things, you're not as intentional about setting yourself in the mindset of, okay, today I'm creating a new day. These are the things that I want to get done, etc. So really and truly, it's up to you. But I found that actually creating and clicking that template button every day is a very intentional practice, and it gets you in that mindset of getting the things that you want to get done. Right, so these are the components of the template button. We'll go through it and create it on our own in a little bit, but generally that is the entire system. Right, so let's go back. I already showed you the overview, and let's go right ahead and build this out. As you'll see, it's so simple that I'm pretty sure that it shouldn't take me that long, although you never know. You never know. So we're going to start off with creating an inline database. I'm going to title it 2023. I'm going to delete these rows, and I'm going to delete this property. I can delete this as well. To populate the months, we can use Notion AI. It's here for a reason of months for 2023 in the format. You don't have to necessarily do in the format. You can just do it like this. For 2023. And it's going to populate these date names. And I'm just going to drag these into my database, like so. We can delete this. And there we go. We have the months of the year. Next up, I'm going to create my weekly review properties. So these are going to be text properties, week 1. And let's just duplicate that 3 times. Choose 3. So this should be week 4. And here we have week 2 and week 3. Great. So we are pretty much almost done already. I'm just resizing these columns because it bugs me when they're not resized properly. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to turn this inline database, meaning that the database is inline in the page. I'm doing like this with my hand, but I realize that you can't see me. So it's inline on the page. And to turn this into a full page database like this, you just go to the 6-dot menu and you click Turn into Page. And that way everything is here just in one place. You can't add anything to the bottom here like you could have done in the previous page, because this entire database is now a page of its own, if that makes sense. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to rename this 2023 along with the word of the year that I chose, Year of Intention. And I'm going to now create the template button inside of the database template. So there are two types of templates inside of Notion. We have the database page. We have the database template. So if you click on the blue new button, the drop down menu, and you click new template, we're going to title this new month. And I like to turn these comments off just for personal use, because I don't comment on pages that I only myself am in. Some people do that. I just find that it kind of clogs up the look of the page. But I'm going to go ahead now and create my template button. So the second type of template is called a template button, and you pull it up by doing your / command, typing in template, and you'll see template button. Just going to duplicate the blocks with a click according to Notion. So you click enter. You have this configuration options here, and I'm going to put add a new day, because that's what I want to do. I want to add a new day, and I'm going to delete this block. You can create the template inside of here, but I'm actually just going to create the blocks here and then drag them in. So I'm going to go ahead, heading to at today, date when duplicated, right? I'm going to color this green background, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in my different sections, which are all header 3, deep work, and I also have my fleecing tasks, and I have notes. And you can add in your checkboxes one time. Duplicate that. Try to keep your deep work tasks to 2 or 3 blocks for the day. From the book, deep work is usually 90 minutes. But of course, if you're now starting off, you can go with a smaller increment of time. Fleeting tasks. I'm gonna keep that at 3. And then notes, I just populate with a few bullet points. And that's it for your template button. So I'm going to drag these blocks in and drag these in. Great. So now they are all here. I'm going to click close, and you will see that if I click add a new day, we have all of the blocks that we placed inside of that template button here, and it's ready to go. So I'm just going to undo that. Now, a quick thing about the actual template button inside of Notion. If you have, so you notice that if I click add a new day, the template appears above the button. However, if there is a block underneath here, underneath the template button, even if it is an empty block, it's going to add the template below the template button. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth is this even relevant to me? And it is relevant to you if you're using this setup, because in the append list system, of course, you want your days to be added below. So you want your days to be added towards the end, appended towards the end of the document. right? So you don't want to have them every time you click add a new day, it's coming up below the template button, because then you have to move the template button down. So I'm going to undo. So you just want to make sure that once you're in the template and you know that you're in the database template, when you are, so you see this gray banner on top of here and it says you're editing a template in this database. So make sure that you don't have any blocks below here. That way, every time you click add a new day, it's going to add the template above the actual template button. Okay, I feel like I've said template 1 million times. So let's go back and we pretty much have everything set up for now. You can, of course, add your emojis to the, add your icons to the database pages, but I'm not going to go through that now. I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this to create the gallery view. I'm going to leave this titled as this. And I'm going to change this to the overview. I'll rename overview. Drag that across there. Rename this, just removing that space from the end. And I want this to be layout. And I want the layout to be gallery. And I want card preview to be none. And we can do card size as small. That way we can see everything here. Of course, if we wanted, we could also click properties and toggle on all of these week properties. We don't have anything in there now, but let's say I typed a weekly review for January and I just duplicate that out. I forget that Notion is not Airtable. And I can't just do that across. Right. So now we have everything. If we come back here, we will see that we also have our weekly reviews that you can see in the gallery view. But for my purposes, I think I prefer to keep the gallery view clean. So I'm going to toggle those off. Right. And if we come into February, let's say, so this will be your workflow. You come into the month that you're currently in. Obviously, you will not have any reviews because we're still, at least we don't have reviews for the last week because that's the week that we are currently in. But you click new month. That's the template that's being generated. And the template is generating a template button. We click add a new day. And there we go. We can go ahead, put our deep work tasks in, our fleeting tasks, etc. I think I want this to actually open up as a full page instead of just this center peak. So I'm going to go to the database properties, layout, and open pages. You can't see, move me over here. Open pages in full page as opposed to center peak. So if I come here now, you will see, let me move you back on this side. You will see that we are in a full page. But yes, so as you can see, the template button is here. There's nothing below. There are no blocks below this. So I can easily add my days as I go on. Now, another thing that you can do here is add a table of contents block. But you'll realize that for the table of contents block, this is really for easy navigation. So I'm actually going to go back to my template that I initially created. And let's come to February. Right. So I'm going to add the table of contents block here. And you'll see that this is how this works. It's going to basically collect all of this is a header 2, a second order heading. And these are all header 3s, right? I I don't really want to see all of the header 3s, and I don't necessarily need this to be a header 2. So if you do want to add the table of contents so that you can have easier navigation, because I'm sure you can imagine as the entire month goes out, you're going to have quite a long list here in this one database page. So what we can do is edit the template, and or rather we can edit the actual headings. So I can change this to a header 3, and then I can change the deep work. I can just put that as text and maybe bold it. Do the same for this. Turn into text and just bold it so that we're aware that it's there. And that way we can see that now we just see the header 3. So it's not going to show us anything else. It's going to show us those because I didn't make these changes to these. But you can see how the table of contents block only shows you the headings, right? It's not going to show you the text, which is why I am changing them, because again, as you can imagine, as the month goes by, you really will have quite a long list here. And while it's nice to have everything in one place and you can scroll and kind of just collate all of your notes in one area, it is nice to have the table of contents so that you can click around to where you are or where you want to go. Maybe you want to get back to a certain day, and that's what the purpose is. You don't have to add it. I'm trying to keep this, again, as simple as possible. Nothing fancy at all. But I do think that the table of contents block would help, especially on mobile. And that's it, guys. So that is all I really have for you today. As I said, I wanted to just show you this system that I came across. Do check out the article here so that you can get some just more information and get more in depth as to the system behind it. But yeah, you can also even add a monthly review if you want as a text property. Lots of different things. You want, if you're now starting off, you want to essentially have a system that grows with you over time. And that, I think, is what this is. You may decide that you want to maybe elaborate on things. Maybe you want more databases. But I find that this simple one database with this one page is very effective once you stick with it. And if you have tasks that you have not finished, like let's say I didn't do this, when you start the next day, you can easily drag this here and know, okay, I definitely want to complete this. Once you've completed it, you tick it off and you keep moving on. So that's it for today's video. Please let me know if you want this as a template. It's very simple to build, as I showed you. And yeah, happy note-taking and task management. That's it for today.